Fact for you: Jesus wept is an actual verse in the Bible. It's the shortest verse in the Bible, from John 11:35. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. That's depending where you are in the world. We're doing the nighttime devotion from the devotional Christ Triumphant. The title today: The Saviour has intense sorrow when we reject his love. John 1:11, he came unto his own, and his own received him not. Before them, the crowd with Jesus at his triumphal entry, lies the city of Jerusalem with the temple of pure white marble, which is gilded with glory by the rays of the setting sun. It is a picture of unsurpassed loveliness, and well might the people apply to her the words of the prophet: a crown of beauty in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy God. At the entrancing sight, the throng joins with renewed fervor in their shouts of praise. They suppose that Christ is now to take the throne of David and reign as a temporal prince. Their eyes turn to him to see how he is impressed by the scene. But lo, the Son of Man is in tears. As Christ's eyes rest upon the temple, so soon to be desolated and its veil rent when the final act of the Jews would consummate his death, he wept over the disobedient city. In a few short hours, the world's Redeemer would be taken by wicked hands and crucified. Not the Roman nation, not the Gentiles, but the people for whom he had done so much and from whom he had hoped for so much, were to be his murderers. The grace that bringeth salvation would no longer be heard in the city. This was the cause of the Saviour's intense sorrow. The tender tears he shed over Jerusalem were the last tears of rejected love. The glad throng could not understand the cause of the Saviour's sorrow. They did not know that the iniquities of Israel were bringing her final calamities upon her. But a mysterious awe falls upon the procession and calms in a degree its enthusiasm. A large number in that throng bear in their own bodies the evidence that divine power is among them, and each has a story to tell of the merciful works of Christ. The relation of those wonderful works increases the fervor of their feelings until it reaches an intensity that is indescribable. Disciples and people join in the songs of praise. Then came the priests and rulers to him, requesting him to silence these acclamations of praise. Master, rebuke thy disciples. Christ answered them, if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. Christ had come to earth to reveal the principles of the kingdom of heaven. His character as Saviour and life-giver had been demonstrated only a short time before the grave of Lazarus, but in their pride, the Jews rejected the one who was mighty and having salvation. How different would have been Christ's attitude had the priests and rulers been true to the trust reposed in them. The Saviour has intense sorrow when we reject his love. So this is focusing primarily upon, as we had said before, Jesus coming into Jerusalem. Remember, he was on the donkey or on the ass for the last time, basically, and beholding how everyone's shouting Hosanna and praises and everything because they're expecting him, as was said here, to take over the throne of David and rule Israel. But they were severely disappointed because they misunderstood his mission. Everyone misunderstood his mission, bar maybe a few. Even the disciples expected him, and that's why they argued among themselves who would be the greatest with him, who would be closest to him, who would be his closest counselors, or whatever they want to call themselves. But Jesus showed great sorrow because when he came to the city and he looked over the city, he had a great sense of sorrow, as it said in the title, because he knew they would reject him. And as was said, it wasn't the Romans that killed him. It wasn't the Gentiles that killed him. It was those that he came to save, the Jews. The Israelites, the Jews, so to speak. And they were the ones that set him to be murdered. And Jesus had intense sorrow. And it was at that time, it also says, those who were spiritually discerning felt there was a divine presence in their midst. It says his character as Saviour and life giver had been demonstrated in his short life, especially with the raising of Lazarus. But no one could see that. They're only expecting the earthly, human aspect of him because no one actually understood. And most people now still don't understand. We are spiritual beings having an earthly, human experience. Now, because we haven't come from being spiritual beings to be humans, we are going to be going from human to spiritual. But it is the Spirit of God that dwells in us. And it was there, and the humanity was formed around it. They rejected Christ because they didn't understand. I'm hoping, and I'm preaching to myself, we understand before it's too late.